Hi, Grace community. Andrew Brill here. I'm on staff and one of the elders here, and we're going to continue our Stories of Grace series. Really enjoy sharing these stories with you of different ways in which God's at work in people, and we really want these to be an encouragement to each other. I know for me, when I hear stories of how God's at work in the lives of those around me, the daily presence of God and sanctification work of God, it's an encouragement. It gives me courage day after day. And so really enjoy sharing these stories with you. So today we asked Chris and Tracy Berry to come. Chris and Tracy both been part of Christ Community for a few years. They'll tell us some of that story. And they've served in a variety of ways. Chris is one of our elders. Tracy served as part of our Square One team and has led our staff through some conversations about staff leadership. And so they've really jumped in since they've been here, but they're not native Arkansans. So we're going to let them share a little bit of that story. So guys, if you will, just give us the 30,000 foot view to start with of just who you are, family, where you're from originally, and then we'll kind of zoom towards Fayetteville after that.
Okay, well,
Can you fight to see who goes first?
no, you know.
We figured that out.
We figured this question out ahead of time. So we're both from Cincinnati, born and raised there, in towns, little suburbs that were about 15 minutes apart. We met through Young Life in high school and also discipleship, dated in college when we were both Young Life leaders, got married, had planned to live in Cincinnati the rest of our lives, Chris decided, well, the Lord ordained that Chris would go get his MBA at Bloomington, Indiana. We stayed there 11 years, had all three of our daughters kind of have their early childhood in Bloomington, Indiana, which is a non-Southern Fayetteville, I say. And then...
That's where the University of Indiana is, right?
So
University
Indiana University. And then in 2008, we moved back to Cincinnati thinking we're back to Cincinnati for good. God had other plans. And in 2018, we moved here to Arkansas.
So I'll pick up where Tracy left off there. So back in 2017, the company I was working for in Cincinnati got acquired, and it was from a company here in Arkansas, and never in our life did we imagine we would move to Arkansas. Didn't know much about it, but felt like with our family and friends and where we were in Cincinnati, no real interest in moving. So nothing wrong with this area. It's just we had so much in Cincinnati that was reasons to stay there. So I spent probably 6 months going, okay, Lord, you know, what's next? What do you have for us here? And spent a long time looking, and nothing came that was anything that I was excited about or felt the Lord was leading us to. And so I had set some criteria that said, hey, if A, B, and C happens with the new company, I have to consider it. And so pretty much A, B, and C happened. And so as we were sharing with people that we were going to move to Fayetteville, we had a number of people that had lived here and loved it. There's a pretty good pipeline of folks that come from Cincinnati to Fayetteville because of Walmart and Procter & Gamble connections. So there was a couple in our community group, the Metzners, who said, oh, you'll love Fayetteville. When you're there, you need to go check out Christ Community Church. That's where we went. And so when we moved down here then, we went to one other church, but came here on a house hunting visit and loved it. And when we moved in January, this is where we came. And so I would say that, you know, through that whole process, we definitely felt like God was calling us here, because logically it didn't make any sense. Like, why would God call us away from our family in Cincinnati? Definitely bringing us into a different part of the country. Both of our parents were, my parents are in northern Michigan, so definitely wasn't putting us closer to them, and our children were in Cincinnati. And so it definitely felt like, okay, God, you appear to be calling us to Arkansas. And so as difficult as it was, we embraced that. And
we embraced having our heart ripped out.
yes. And that is, from my perspective, I'm thinking about, I got to provide for my family. This is where the Lord's leading us. And Tracy's like, but you're taking me away from my babies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously wasn't easy. We had good friends there and that sort of thing, but we really felt like God was leading us here. And I think the learning for us is the lack of humility in our perspective was that God has something for us to do in Fayetteville, right? That's why he's leading us there. God needs us there.
We've got something to offer.
Right.
Those people in Arkansas need some help. There's clearly...
Exactly. And I think through a number of things, which I can go into a little bit, but I realized that God was much more concerned about bringing me to Arkansas to do a work in me, not through me. And so, kind of a long story short, my couple of years working here with this new company was not what I expected to be. It was difficult, challenging, and really one of the hardest times in my life. And there were times where I kind of was worried about my own well-being, worried about my health, and so one of the things, and I still am leading this city group, but in leading my city group, I remember having these thoughts of, gosh, do I share this with my city group? Or do I just buck up, keep a firm upper lip and all is good? And I thought, man, what a hypocrite. If I can't share this deep challenge and what I felt was a lot of failure on my part with my city group, then what am I doing leading a city group, right? And what kind of leadership is that if I'm not willing to do what I'm asking others to do? And so we shared that kind of the difficulty of what really we both were going through. And it allowed our city group to really come alongside us. And I know you were on staff then and sharing just our prayer requests on the prayer cards and Sunday morning service, that I know the church body came around us. And had we not opened that door, we would have just been kind of lying to ourselves and not really confronting the truth. So,
Matt, I'm just struck with a lot of times we make this hard decision. It's like, okay, we're really trusting God with this. And we kind of have this subtle expectation. Once we make the hard decision and obey God, then things will go well. Mm-hmm. And your experience was pretty much the opposite.
Completely.
Hey, made a hard decision, felt God was in it, obeyed, and then things didn't go well. Mm-hmm. That's your experience as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think we leaned a lot on, that verse, we were perplexed but not in despair. I mean, we were on the verge of despair, but fighting against despair because it was so bewildering how we had truly felt that God really was calling us here, and then everything in both our careers went totally different than we were expecting the positions to be.
And for years, we're not talking
it was
a couple rough weeks.
No, it was not a couple. It was a rough year.
Yeah.
And we would drive to church, and we live out near Goshen. So we'd be driving on Mission, and it's all beautiful and hilly there. And I would just every Sunday I would basically say, as we were driving, I lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence does my help come? And we were just constantly reminding ourselves, and God was definitely working in us to remind us that, He who had begun a good work in us was still working to complete us, and that He was conforming us to His image in ways we did not like and were not expecting, but that He was at work refining us.
I even, as you say that verse, it's not my help comes from the job I want. My help is not from the predictable source of income, from from feeling settled in a new place. Really it just pulls you back to where does my help come from? It comes from the Lord. And I know things have gotten better in some ways that you're happy about.
God has been great.
Yeah. And
very gracious.
He lets you sit in that for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we joke with our kids because we will explain this little story that happened to us when we were newly married and we wanted this one particular home. It was going to
The
be
Albertson house. They've heard it so many times. They're tired of the story.
You know, we were going to buy this great house and we were so excited, but someone outbid us. We didn't get it, but God had something better for us. And, you know, that was a life lesson that lasted about 2 weeks, right? You know, this was a life lesson and learning that was a long journey. And as I would drive to work each morning when I was really feeling in the valley of despair, you know, what kept me going or what gave me life and support was, you know, I started in Genesis and listened to the Bible every day on my way into work and made it a long way through it. That and Tracy had put me onto a Spotify list that was just hymns that were instrumental, and we call it kind of my Zen music. But like when I'm stressed out or she stresses me out at home, because we work in the same home now, remote, I gotta turn that on and just go, hey, take your business elsewhere and let me dwell with the Lord. And but yeah, he definitely showed me that the only thing we had to lean on was him. That's the life of faith. That was where we were, and just learned what to trust him meant. You know, I had trust in the Lord as a moment in time thing. I trusted in the Lord to save me. No, but this was, I trust the Lord to lead me through this. And so he was faithful.
Yeah. When I first was thinking about talking with you guys about this, it really was, when we talk about stories of grace, it's grace in the disappointment, grace in the hard left turns that life takes, and you guys really have been an example in that, even a maybe unwanting example.
Yeah.
You guys have walked in that. So, and I'd forgotten the piece about you pressing into city group and into individuals here, which can be a hard thing to do when
it was
you just
very humbling.
Here.
You guys didn't know us at all, and we're like beseeching people, pray for us. So it was very humbling.
Which I forget that piece of it, but I'll say, and I mean, this is part of why we do these stories of grace, so that we want to cultivate in our church a culture that says, hey, I don't have it all together. Everything's not going perfectly, because grace comes in when there is need, when we don't have things together perfectly. And so thank you guys for modeling that for our people. And I hope that there are lots of stories that are told here on video, but also just amongst you as a body. So Christ community, thanks for joining us. Chris and Tracy, thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.